Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and well, pretty much, I was looking at the Jurassic World Rebirth toys, and don't get me wrong, they look absolutely amazing. But I decided to do some minor edits to them to make them look a little bit improved. And I guess this is technically like the first kind of concept design I've done in a while, because there are a few new species in here, but for the most part, I just was kind of editing them, and some of them got edited to the point that they're basically a completely new figure. So this is basically kind of a new concept video, but I was mainly just editing them. But this is basically just me fixing the Rebirth figures. Also, want to mention, I guess this is my 4th of July video, since this is like the only thing I have planned today, and also kind of brought that up in the first place, just in case you hear fireworks in the background, that's why. So, hopefully it's not that bad, but anyways, let's jump into this video. So, first off, we have the Torvoneustes, which was a pretty good figure, though it had a few minor issues. And this is my redesign. Nothing too crazy happened to it if we put them side by side. Pretty much I extended the torso some and also extended the tail. That's pretty much it, actually. That's like the only two like main issues with this figure. Outside of that, this figure is absolutely amazing. Anyways, next we have the Iani, which is honestly a pretty solid creature. There's like only really 1 or 2 issues with it. Honestly, all I did was extend the face. Even then, I feel like it could probably be done a little bit better. Honestly, this thing's snout is just way too short. Outside of that, it's pretty good. I mean, I guess it could use some more paint, though. The paint job's also not the worst. But, yeah, that was kind of more of a minor one. A lot of the Danger Pack ones are kind of more minor. Well, some of the Danger Pack ones are more minor. Actually, most of the Wave 1 dinosaurs either just have no edits or just very minor. Wave 2 is really where all the juicy stuff's at. But anyways, next we have Edmontonia, which if we go over to my edit to it, I literally just extended the tail. That's literally like the only issue with this figure. Side by side, literally just had too short of a tail, and I made it a little bit longer. That's it. Anyways, on to one of the most problematic of the Frenzy Packs and Rebirth figures in general. The Archaeornithomimus. This thing looked like absolute garbage compared to what species it's supposed to be. So, my edit for this species, we could either just rename it to some sort of Troodonted like Spinosaurus or I can't even pronounce the other possible synonym of Troodon, or Troodon might be synonymous with, that starts with the letter L. So just it could be renamed to like maybe just like an accurate Troodon as a Spinosaurus or Pteranodon or something like that. Or we could actually edit it, and this is my edit for the animal, which it's not the best, but honestly I think it's still a huge improvement. If we have them side by side, you can see that I basically just made a feathered Gallimimus, which is kind of just what I was expecting from this figure. And instead of doing that, they just made like a weird Troodonted thing. So, yeah, the only thing that I'm not super satisfied with is the head, which even though it's kind of close to the original color-wise, and the yellow technically makes sense, I think I would have preferred to have it a little bit more red or a little bit more green. But yeah, it would have been cool just to get a feathered Ornithomimus. I really wanted that, but instead we got this freak of nature. So, yeah, that is my Archaeornithomimus edit. Next, we have the Minqaria, which only really... Okay, I know it's really lacking on colors, but that's not my biggest issue with this figure. Personally, it's the posture. It looks really off. Here's my first attempt at fixing it. It looks like absolute garbage, so I redid it again. It still doesn't look good, but you kind of get the idea. Just kind of fix the posture, and realistically probably could have added some more yellow stripes going down the back. But honestly, outside of that, it's a pretty good figure. And honestly, my edit might even be worse. Though again, I feel like I know Hadrosaurs like their front torso kind of like lean down more, but it's excessive on this figure and it's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, next we have the Beipiaosaurus, which technically doesn't really have any issues, though I decided to still edit it. And this is my redesign, which is basically a completely new figure. I made it stand more upright. I basically made it completely feathered, changed the colors completely. There's literally nothing left of this that is really the original Beipiaosaurus figure. And honestly, I just made it look more like a Therizzinosaurid. Only thing I would change on this redesign is making it a little bit less upright. Outside of that, I honestly would have way preferred to get a little feathered Therizzinosaurid instead of a completely scaly one. I feel like it loses a lot of its identity as a Therizzinosaurid, so I decided to go this route, and I guess it kind of can work because Beipiaosaurus, especially because of the Isle, has been like depicted more as like a penguin-like animal, so I guess this kind of makes sense for that. But even then, I think Beipiaosaurus, compared to even other Therizzinosaurid, would not have stood up wouldn't have stood up straight like this as much. So yeah, I do really like the colors on my redesign though. Anyways, next we have Inostrancevia, which is a really good figure. The only issue really is a little bit of the proportions in the front half, and also like the face and the teeth are like really exaggerated. So on my concept redesign, I got rid of the hump on its back, I flattened out the skull, and then I shortened the teeth. I honestly hope we get a Inostrancevia or some sort of Gorgonopsid figure in the future that looks more like this, Since, don't get me wrong, I love the figure we got now, but I would like when that looks a little bit more realistic and natural. Even if it's like a Hammond collection figure, that would be really cool to get like a Hammond collection Lycanops or something. Or even Inostrancevia just with Lycanops colors or something. It would be really cool to see. So, yeah, that is my kind of redesign. Here's it side by side with the original. Again, very minor changes, but it goes a long way. Next, we have the Achillobator, which has a lot of issues. And realistically, I didn't even make a redesign. Marco Makes already did a redesign for this figure. And I want to give full credit to him because he's the one that made this. And, yeah, literally just go with that. It's just so much better. Just go with that. Pretty much fixes every single issue with it. The only thing I changed on his redesign was I added the little, feather crown on the top of his head. I put that back on the design because I really like that. Outside of that, it's literally just a Marco Make redesign. Again, not my redesign, his redesign. And, yeah, that's really it. Next, we have the Zuniceratops, which is a really weird one to get redesigned since literally no one had an issue with the old one, and the old one was pretty good. I would have preferred getting a new Ceratopsian or something instead of just getting Zuniceratops again, but my redesign literally just changed the name. I didn't put it on the screen. I'll put the name of it on the screen in the editing. I think it's like Tyrannosaurus or something similar to that. It starts with a T. Anyways, it's another Ceratopsian, and personally I think it looks a little bit more like this figure than actually supposed to be Zuniceratops. Still find it really weird that they decided to resculpt this over so many other figures. Like Proceratosaurus got a re-release instead of getting a resculpt, and that thing's not very outdated. And there's many other figures that like could have gotten a resculpt, like Tapejara, and many other figures that are released in Rebirth or just in general that could have gotten a new sculpt that really needed it, but instead they did it on Zuniceratops, one that really did not need it. Anyways, next we have Nanotyrannus. Yeah, I'm not going to even get into how controversial this is. Literally all I did was change the snout. I literally just made it more, well, narrow to make it more in line with Juvenile T-Rexes / Nanotyrannus. Here's it side by side with the original. That's it, pretty simple. Just made it a more slender snout. Next we have the Herrerasaurus. What could I have done for this one? Oh, I used the more updated sculpt that looks way better and that almost everyone prefers over the old one, and just change it to the colors that they put on the newer figure. Who could have imagined we wanted to see the new sculpt? Honestly, when this new sculpt first came out, I saw almost everyone praising it for how good it was, and I still don't understand why we haven't gotten any re-releases of it in a new paint scheme yet. We still only have that original, like, orange color scheme, and to be honest, yes, we did get a re-release of that, but it was not it was, like, basically the same exact paint scheme, except I think they slightly changed the stripes on it. Outside of that, it was literally identical. And I don't know why they keep on using the old, outdated Herrerasaurus model instead of this new one. So, yeah, that's really the only change I made to it. Anyways, next we have Zora, which this figure has a huge issue. A lack of paint. I added more paint on the underbelly, and then I extended the stripe all the way down to the end of the tail. Honestly, I could use even more color than that. This is a pretty good figure. It just needs way more paint, because the lack of paint it has now is just unforgivable and kind of sad. Again, here's the figure side by side. It's not the best fix, but it definitely helps to go a long way. Next, we have the Nasutoceratops, which is pretty similar, has a pretty similar issue to the Maiasaur, except even worse. So I just gave it a completely new paint scheme. This is actually one of my older concepts. I just reused it because honestly, this I think just looks better. It has more color and just looks nicer than just being plain gray with like the slightest dry brushing of dark blue on top. I actually gave it some patterns and stuff. I think this looks better. Next, we have the Wild Barbarionyx. Oh wait, wrong image. Anyways, here's the Wild Barbarionyx. All I did was change the colors. Honestly, this one's honestly more subjective. I just kind of don't like the weird orange color. I feel like it just looks like a toasted Cheez-It instead of like, I don't know. I feel like it would have been really cool to see this in like the Fallen Kingdom Baryonyx color, or even the website color. If they wanted to go with a bright color, they should have went the website color with the yellow and like the tealish blue patterns. That would have been a really cool color scheme. Honestly, wish I would have made a concept of that instead. But here's just like random color swap. I just don't think this figure looks good. It's a really good Baryonyx sculpt. Well, Jurassic World Baryonyx sculpt, just I think it doesn't have the best colors to show it off, so I think at least a darker color would work on it. Or again, if you're going to do a bright color, do something a little bit more detailed like the website Baryonyx. Next, we have Archaeornithomimus, which honestly, this is a pretty decent figure despite it's kind of being plain. All I did was add more paint to it, which honestly I think does go a long way. They'll still think this would be a figure that I would still skip out on just because, again, I don't think there's really anything interesting. And honestly, I think Mattel really shouldn't have released two Abelisaurs in the same exact wave. We could have gotten like a pterosaur or marine reptile, especially since they're going with land, air, and sea. I would have bought that automatically no matter what it was, but instead we just got two Abelisaurs. And that's really coming from a person that absolutely loved the Abelisaur figures. So, yeah, that's a shame. Here's them side by side, but honestly, just adding more patterns really helps. Anyways, next we have the other Abelisaur in this wave, the Abelisaurus, and my redesign for it. going to show them side by side before talking about it. Pretty much I got rid of that weird kind of sail thing on its back, and instead I shrunk the arms. Actually, I completely changed the arms for the Cryptops arms and made them a little bit just shorter. And then I also gave it like iguana spikes going down its back. I think it would have also been cool if I gave it like an iguana dewlap as well, instead of that weird unnatural triangle one. I think that still did add a little bit more flair to the figure, and I would honestly maybe pick up the figure if it looked like this. But yeah, honestly, I think the color scheme is really cool, and it could use a bit more paint, though. I think it's one of those ones that just gets away with it. So yeah. Next, we have the Ankylosaurus, and my change to it is literally just changing to Euoplocephalus. There's technically nothing wrong with this Ankylosaurus figure, and technically there's no reason I should be expecting Euoplocephalus outside of the fact that it was listed on the website to be Euoplocephalus. I guess Mattel decided to change their mind and just do Ankylosaurus since it's in the movie, but I kind of don't care. I just would have way preferred to see Euoplocephalus instead. I know it's technically this should go. I actually have a section at the end showing all the ones that I don't think needs to do not need to be redesigned at all, but I still decided to put in Ankylosaurus here just because I want to use Euoplocephalus instead. That'd be way cooler to see. Next, we're going into another figure that a lot of people have issues with, including me, the Tyrannotyrannus. This is a pretty cool figure. The issue is that it looks literally nothing like a Tyrannotyrannus. It has a good paint scheme, really a pretty good sculpt. Just, again, it doesn't have the right proportions or really look to be a Tyrannotyrannus. And here's my redesign of it. Not anything super major, but a little goes a long way. Not only did I fix the tail posture, I hate whenever Mattel makes the tail like upright like that, but I also just changed the spines on the tail in general, and also changed the spines. Like the next proportion, just I made it way thicker. I made the head bigger and just like more elongated, and also like stretched out the dewlap and a few other things. Just make the proportions way better. Also make this figure way bigger, like similar in size to the T-Rex. Like that size range would be nice. Heck, even like if it's like the size of the Lab Lockdown T-Rex, or a little bit bigger than that, would probably be like around the size that it should be. But yeah, honestly, this figure is one that really needs a redesign. I'm actually happy how this redesign came out. Next, we have the Inostrancevia, which is another one arguably doesn't need a redesign. Here's my redesign for it. This is one of my other ones I'm not the most satisfied with. I think it came out alright, but still at the same time isn't perfect. Here's them side by side. I kind of wanted the Triceratops to be a little bit, like, I kind of wanted it just to be like a bigger version of the Triceratops, maybe with some like kind of just like a more paleo-accurate Triceratops. Making it bigger, giving it quills, giving it more elaborated colors, giving it more exaggerated horns, and instead we got kind of more of like a cartoony Triceratops. I think the action feature's pretty good, though still not my favorite figure. Also probably not my favorite redesign, though. I'm not completely unsatisfied with it. Just let me know how you guys think of it in the comments. But yeah, this is just my redesign for the Inostrancevia. Though again, I know a lot of people really like this figure, and I would definitely see people preferring the original figure over this one. Anyways, next we move on to the stuff which I'm gonna say now. Most of the other stuff like wasn't Rebirth spoilery. This next part, I guess, there are some minor spoilers for Rebirth. So if you have not seen the movie, you can continue watching at your own risk. But anyways, next we have the Spinosaurus set, which I don't like this set. I just don't like the Spinosaurus figure in it. I don't know why, I just don't like it. Here's my redesign of it. There's not much changed about it, and I think I like it significantly more, though at the same time I might still have some issues with that. I really don't know. I just think the trail... okay, what am I even saying? The tail thrasher Spinosaurus looks way better than the Spinosaurus figure, and I don't know why. I think, like, honestly, they give it like a rubber tail like the Hammond Collection figure. That would be like perfection. But assuming they didn't do that, I just kind of just extended the tail and then also changed the colors up. I honestly don't know why. I just hate the colors on this figure. It just doesn't look right. And then also, there's something about the sculpt that I just cannot figure out that looks off about it. Maybe it was just the colors that are making the sculpt look weird, or maybe I just need to see the figure out of the box. I've only seen it in box and also in videos. It still just doesn't look right to me. I just really don't like the Spinosaurus set for some reason. I just don't like how the Spinosaurus looks. So this is kind of my redesign of it. Still not perfect, though. I think I prefer it over the original, though. I know a lot of people really like the original set and probably prefer that one over it. But yeah, I don't know why. I just think like something's off with this. Anyways, next we have the Zora, Bennett, and Velociraptor set, which here's my redesign for it. I literally just fixed the Velociraptor's proportions, posture, and head. I just gave it like a JP3 Raptor's head. Honestly, the only other thing I'd probably change about my redesign is giving it the proper colors on the face. Outside of that, I way prefer this. It's a shame. Honestly, the Rebirth Velociraptors get disrespected. They have like one of the best Velociraptor designs. I actually really like the Raptor design. But not only do they get replaced with a freaking dragon, but also the toy they get, it looks absolutely garbage, unfortunately. So yeah, this is my concept for the Velociraptor, kind of changing it up. So yeah, Anyways, next we have the Duncan and Velociraptor set. I know exactly what you guys are expecting. Me to just basically do the same redesign with this Velociraptor. First thing, I didn't feel like completely doing all the changes I just did to that one again on this orange raptor. And last one, when I tried changing the color to make it look more orange, it just kind of came out more of like a red color. And then I also had a way better idea. Duncan and Dunkleosteus set. Honestly, please Mattel, just give us a Dunkleosteus. Again, I know spoiler for the film. I know it only appeared for 3 seconds as a severed head, but I don't care. Please give us a Dunkleosteus figure. You've done more based off of less before, Mattel. Please give us a Dunkleosteus mainline and Hammond collection figure. I know you would do it. So, yeah, here is my Dunkleosteus concept. Again, here's it side by side with the original. Literally the only thing I changed is I added Dunkleosteus. This would have went from being literally my least favorite of the sets. I literally not a big fan of any of the Rebirth sets. But this was easily like my least favorite out of all of them. Would have went to automatically one of my favorite sets and probably one of my favorite figures releasing for Rebirth entirely. So yeah, Dunkleosteus needs a figure. If not even in like a wave 3, I probably am going to do a video making wave 3 of Rebirth figures since we haven't had any of those revealed. But once I do that, Dunkleosteus will be back there again, my friends. Anyways, next we have the Parasaurolophus and who the heck is this? Is this Xavier? Honestly, I cannot even remember. I don't remember seeing this character in the movie. The only other person I can think of is Xavier. So, yeah, I guess it's Xavier and Parasaurolophus set. You know what? Give me a second. Let me go check. Okay, after checking, this is Reuben Delgado. So, the father from the family in Jurassic World Rebirth, which this looks absolutely nothing like him. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, I guess that's a set with him. Anyways, yeah, I changed it to having the dragons. I don't like the dragons, but I know a lot of people want a dragon figure, and Mattel hasn't made one yet, so I guess now would be a better time than ever just to throw it in here. Again, I completely changed these sets because, like, the Parasaurolophus, I just don't like the small Parasaurolophus. I'm going to go to the slide where it's side by side, but I just don't like the small Parasaurolophus, especially since the Dominion one is massive. I would want an adult Parasaurolophus figure from Mattel at some point. I would buy that in an instant, especially with the Dominion one. Unfortunately, we haven't got any adult Parasaurolophus or even Dominion Parasaurolophus until recently, so that's honestly just a shame. But I think it'd be better, instead of getting 2 Velociraptors, which honestly, the Velociraptors not only look bad, but even if they were the old sculpts, it gets tiring getting a million Velociraptor figures. Honestly, discourages me from buying the human set since I kind of want to actually get an interesting species with them. So kind of switched it up. We have, another thing that I kind of did with the sets is that we have, we kind of have land, air, and sea. I mean, especially if you include the Dr. Loomis set. Because we have the Dunkleosteus as sea, Velociraptor as land with the Zora and Bennett set. Then we have the Dr. Loomis set as air with the Pteranodon. And then this one is just the freakish monstrosity we threw into the movie because why the heck not set. So yeah, there's the Mutodon. I mean the dragon, honestly. Mutodon's not even that bad of a name, just still find it kind of weird. I feel like it wouldn't make sense to include that in the name of a canon species. But anyways, yeah, here's the dragon set. Next, we have honestly, I don't remember most of the characters' names. The bad guy and Velociraptor vehicle set. What did I change about this one? I put Mr. Mutant in it and also Achillobator because honestly I didn't know where else to throw it in. So yeah, that's pretty much what I changed to the set. I'm changing these sets. I changed like what dinosaurs are in the sets a lot. You'll see where I end up putting the putting some other things around. You'll see when I get to those. But anyways, for this set, I decided to change it to Mr. Mutant since honestly, this guy never, I think apparently there was a cut scene in the film where he apparently shoots at the Velociraptors or shoots the Velociraptors or something like that. That was cut from the film. It might be in the extended version. But since that's not in the movie, we see him driving this car with Mr. Mutant, and Mr. Mutant, like, just stops him from driving. So I think it'd make more sense to have him in the set. And then Achillobator is in here for literally no reason, but when I do Wave 3 sets, I'll probably make a Quetzalcoatl set, and it will probably be in there since it's kind of during that scene where we encounter this creature. But anyways, yeah, this is the mutant and bad guy set. So villain dino. Honestly, I know they have Mr. Mutant as labeled as villain dino, but it's Mr. Mutant and villain set. I was gonna say villain dino and villain set, but doesn't make any sense. Anyways, next we have the Quetzalcoatl, which honestly, after getting this figure, I really love this figure. So the only edit is fixing the beak. Heck, I kept the beak, I mean the hook beak. I don't really like the hook beak, but I kept that on the redesign. We have them side by side. I just made the beak a little bit more fuller, because I don't like, it just isn't full enough. I feel like the beak isn't like complete on the actual figure we got. Another thing that it would be a change that's not physical, like you can't physically see, is just fixing the arm joints to make them stronger. Because when you set this thing down or apply the slightest bit of pressure, sometimes the wings pop up just when you set it down. Sometimes, but when you put pressure on it like at all, it's going to pop out. Apparently some of them are not like this, but yeah, at least all the ones, most of the ones I've seen have that issue. So yeah, honestly, that's like something I changed. That's like not this physical, it's like an actual like mechanism kind of thing that would be fixed. But design-wise, just kind of fixed the beak. Anyways, next we have the Bite and Blast Mosasaurus, which the only changes I made is I made it slimmer. Honestly, just really the front part. I didn't really do much. I literally just extended the tail fluke, which again, I'm going to go over to the comparison image. I just extended the tail fluke and then also made the underside a little bit thinner because it's really beefy in the front and like not properly proportioned. So yeah, just honestly making it slimmer would go a long way. And in this way, since they're making it slimmer, maybe they can make it slightly longer to make it more canonically as long as it is in the film. Also, this is something I heard. I heard that apparently the Rebirth Mosasaurus is supposed to be the same one from Jurassic World. Can anyone fact check this or have any like backup sources like saying anything about it? I don't believe this. I know the Rebirth designers have done, the Rebirth writers or designers have done some really weird things that make no sense, but this is too far, to the point that I'm not quite believing it. Again, if there's anyone that knows more about that, please comment down below, because honestly, not even I'm believing that. That is just too wild. If it is true, then what in the world? Anyways, we're not even talking about the film right now. We're just talking about the toys. Again, the Bite and Blast Mosasaurus is pretty much perfect, just being a little bit weirdly proportioned outside of that. Pretty good. Also, maybe making, again, another minor change, just maybe making the mechanism work a little bit more smoothly. Outside of that, that's pretty much all for the Bite and Blast Mosasaurus. Next, we have the Power Devour T-Rex. Changing it to make it look more like the Lab Lockdown T-Rex, and also changing the action feature. I don't like the action feature on the Power Devour T-Rex. Again, not only do I think the Lab Lockdown one have slightly better colors, again, maybe even make even better than both of these, because the Rebirth T-Rex has a lot of kind of complex, subtle colors. It'd be cool to get those captured on a figure a little bit more. But also, maybe even, I would say maybe make it non-electronic, so that it could be in water like the one in the film. But I guess that's what the point of the Lab Lockdown one is, so I guess keep the electronics on this one. So, that weird electronic just chomping action feature when you press down the tongue and also the light in the back of the mouth, I just find kind of weird. Personally, I think it would be cooler if it kind of just had the regular tail control chomping action feature that a lot of like the Gigantic Thrasher and Wild Roar figures have, just with a button to control the chomping. And then also maybe make it be able to swallow things whole. That would be really cool. Anyways, next we have everyone's favorite dubious freak, Titanosaurus. And to fix this one, we're going to make it as beautiful as we can by making it dead. That's how this creature should be. And we're making it a beautiful set where we have all the other carnivores coming together in harmony to feast on this creature and appreciate, no matter how weird or normal or whatever creature are, you can all gather around and appreciate the fact that the Titanosaurus is dead. So, yeah, honestly, just a giant scavenger pack. Just a big Titanosaurus corpse and a bunch of carnivores that come and scavenge on it. I mean, I would buy it. That's the only way I'm buying a Titanosaurus figure. Okay, jokes aside, I did actually make a Titanosaurus redesign. First thing, we're renaming it to Argentinosaurus. That's a big requirement. Also, we're shortening the tail and getting rid of the sails and replacing it with osteoderms. This is not my favorite way of doing it. Honestly, this concept is not even the best. I wish there's a better, I could make this look better. Just, again, giving it osteoderms properly would be really cool. Again, just changing the Argentinosaurus, and that's pretty much it. Though, that is my Titanosaurus redesign. Renaming it to Argentinosaurus. So, yeah, again, Mattel kind of fixed a lot of issues with the Rebirth Titanosaurus on their own, so I just kind of tried to make it even better, but, you can see that it didn't quite work, though, yeah. Anyways, next we have Mr. Mutant, which, what are we changing about this one? Yeah, Shantungosaurus. Honestly, Mr. Mutant on his own doesn't really have any issues, but I really wanted a Shantungosaurus figure. I know it makes no sense if Mr. Mutant was the one in the actual film, but still, this would have been like a perfect opportunity to get a Shantungosaurus figure. Jokes aside, really, Mr. Mutant has no issue, so he should technically go in the honorable mentions category. I just wanted to mention Shantungosaurus because it needs a figure. And if it doesn't get a big figure like this, it's automatically going to be a Gigantic Thrasher figure, which is way too small and way too disappointing. So, please give us a massive Shantungosaurus, even if you need to, like, you know what, since Titanosaurus is the last, like, large cannon sauropod they haven't done yet, maybe we get a big Shantungosaurus figure and replace it with a Hadrosaur next year. That would be really cool. So, yeah. Another thing, I know I'm actually kind of mad for not even doing this. I probably should have made a slide where just Mr. Mutant with his accessories, aka a top hat, a cup of tea, a teapot, and maybe a cane. You know, just give him his typical accessories, also a monocle. Perfect. Honestly, that would have been a better Mr. Mutant set. That, if you want that to be your Mr. Mutant redesign, then that's what it should be. But Shantungosaurus, or just, again, giving him a monocle and other British accessories. So, yeah, now we move on to, I believe, one of the last ones. Actually, no, this is the last one. we have, honestly, I don't remember what the set is called, but it's the set with the Mr. Mutant, the child, Dolores, and the other dude, the father, which, again, I'm not gonna lie, this figure, like, if you don't look at it too closely, honestly, like, this one looks more like the father, especially if you don't look at the face. The face is still very far off, but if you're looking, like, at the rest of the figure, I never actually looked too close to this figure's face. Well, I didn't, because there was really no good quality images. I was like, okay, this is the figure of the father, so I'm guessing the other one was of Xavier, but, apparently not. So, yeah, anyways. I have several ideas we could redesigning with T-Rex, since, again, the family was the... I know this boat was actually a different boat. This isn't, like, the same yellow raft. It would be cool maybe to do one with the yellow raft and the T-Rex. I know this isn't the same yellow raft. Maybe we could do one with the daughter and Xavier. Maybe have the weird amphibian in the set instead of Dolores, and then also have T-Rex in the yellow raft. That could be a cool alternative set. Maybe I'll do that for Wave 3, but anyways, this is an awesome, like, an option. Just have, like, the Lab Lockdown T-Rex again, maybe with a different paint scheme. And maybe make it a bit heavier, because I find it has a little bit of issues sinking in water. So, yeah, that's one option. We also have an option with Spinosaurus, since, again, I know it's based off the scene at the end of the film with Mr. Mutant. Mr. Mutant doesn't really swim. He just kind of walks through the water, and, like, I feel like that barely counts. Let's put Spinosaurus in the set. Again, we already have a Spinosaurus set, so I can see it kind of being redundant to do it again. So, another option, Parasaurus. I know it doesn't appear in the film, but who cares? This is literally perfection. Absolute beautiful figure, and should be in more sets. Should be released more and more. Honestly, I would not be mad if they keep on re-releasing this Parasaurus. I mean, slightly, because we could have gotten other prehistoric crocs that are just as good, but still, you get my point. And then also, we could have gotten a Duncan set. I know Duncan appeared for 2 seconds, but I don't care. Duncan would be absolutely amazing to see. But those were all of my kind of optional extra ideas. But I think what I finally decided on is this should be a set with Parasaurolophus. Yeah, it doesn't appear live in the movie, but it does appear next to the water right before the river raft scene. So it could be cool to have Parasaurolophus in the set. Also, this would give us a perfect opportunity to get a massive Parasaurolophus figure. Especially since we already have a mainline Mr. Mutant figure, and then I had the, we have the other set with the vehicle, the bad guy, and Mr. Mutant in it. We could have this set actually have the adult Parasaurolophus in it. And it could actually be big, because I know there's one review, I'll link it in the description of this set. And the smaller Mr. Mutant figure is actually really close in size to the big one. So this Parasaurolophus would actually be absolutely massive, and that would be really cool to see. Again, here's them side by side. Again, just think it'd be cool to get a big Parasaurolophus set. Honestly, I would buy the set if it had a big Parasaurolophus in it. But, yeah. Anyways, those were pretty much all of my redesigns. Hope you enjoyed them so far. Now, we're just going to go over all the ones that don't need redesigns. Can't remember this pterosaur's name. Honestly, there's really nothing wrong with it. It's kind of just an obscure pterosaur. Nothing really I would change about it. Maybe add more colors, but outside of that, it's pretty much perfect. Yuxisaurus. Honestly, the only thing I would really change about it is maybe give it jaw articulation. Outside of that, it's pretty good. Honestly, I kind of prefer the herbivores with their mouths sculpted closed, or just with articulation jaws. But, yeah, I think it still works, though. Anyways, next we have the Utahraptor, which, again, could use more paint, but outside of that, really doesn't need more paint, because I think it still kind of pulls off the lack of colors really well. But this is just an amazing figure, one of the best from Rebirth lineup. Then we have the... Okay, I don't know how to pronounce this thing, because I've been pronouncing it ever since I've known about this dinosaur as Spiklops, but literally every other review or mention of this dinosaur I see it pronounced as Spiklopius. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Spiklops sounds cooler, so, yeah, I'm going to call it Spiklops. Honestly, this figure is really cool, and I would have been getting it if I didn't already have a figure of this species. That's really the only reason why I'm skipping out on this one. It's pretty good, and I guess it could use some more paint, but outside of that, it's really good. Next, we have the Cheilontosaurus. Again, like a lot of other figures, it could use a bit more paint, but even then, this has more paint than most of the other ones. Just add some paint stripes on the tail. That's literally it. Outside of that, the Cheilontosaurus is literally perfect. We've already discussed this. Parasaurus is absolutely perfect. Honestly, I would say maybe we need a little bit more paint, but honestly, I don't think so. Honestly, at this point, we're literally just kind of asking for maybe belly paint, which, again, don't really think it's necessary. Or in asking for toe claw paint, which Mattel already doesn't do, so there's really no point in asking. So, yeah, this figure is literally perfect in almost every way. Only issue I can find with it is that it has not released in the US yet. That's literally the only issue I can find with this figure. Outside of that, the Parasaurus is absolutely perfect. Next, we have the Dr. Loomis and Pteranodon set. I don't actually have any issues with this. This is probably my favorite set that's released, and even then, I'm not really particularly interested in getting it. There's nothing wrong with the Pteranodon. It's good. Honestly, happy that they picked this species. And then, Dr. Loomis himself looks good enough. The accessories work. Honestly, just, it's a decent set. Next, we have Lab Lockdown T-Rex. This thing is literally perfect. Again, the only issue I have with it is the sculpt of the tongue being sculpted up. it just makes it so that you can literally put like nothing in its mouth, and it's a shame since this is probably one of this and Mr. Mutant are like the only two Rebirth figures that have a decent enough bite force in which they can actually kind of hold things in their mouth. Everything else, his jaw is so weak they can barely hold anything in their mouth, including the Mosasaurus has issues really having things that are slightly heavy in its mouth, or else it can't really close it. So which that kind of sucks. So yeah, that's really the only issue. Again, the tongue being sculpted up, and then maybe it could be a bit heavier to sink in water, but visually it's pretty much perfect. Next, we have the Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus. Perfect down to the last minute detail. I mean, it could use some more paint, though that's not even critiquing the figure, that's just critiquing the actual Spinosaurus model in the film, because that thing basically has no colors on it. And lastly, this isn't even another one that should be fixed, I'm just saying in general, we need a big Dominion Parasaurolophus figure. So, yeah, that is pretty much it. Those are all my Jurassic World Rebirth redesigns. Comment down below which ones you enjoyed. Is there any you disagree with? Is there any species you think need a redesign? Is there any species that you think are redesigned for no reason and didn't need any changes? And, yeah, also, any ideas for sets for Wave 3 concept? What figures do you want to see in Wave 3? I'm probably going to do a concept video on that. Honestly, I've been working on this one for a long time, just now finished it, so, yeah, it's probably going to take me forever to get to it, but hey, I still do want to do a concept for Wave 3. Also, probably will do a concept for Chaos Theory Season 4 toys, which, who knows? We'll probably end up getting Chaos Theory Season 4 toys next year, part of the next, whatever the next lineup is. Also curious what figures we'll get in the next lineup. Is there any species you're expecting to see? Is there any you really want to see? And again, is there like, what are just your thoughts on Rebirth, the Rebirth toy line, the actual film, and just generally everything with the Jurassic franchise right now? Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.